Welcome to this explainer. Seriously, take a second and just imagine stepping right out your front door. All around you, there is this massive, breathing ecosystem of over 1 billion people that keeps the country running every single day. From the farmer harvesting wheat at the crack of dawn, to the software engineer writing code late into the night, to the truck driver navigating the highways to deliver our goods. It's a vast, incredibly complex web of human effort. But, how does all of this actually fit together?
Well, that brings us to our core puzzle. How do we take an economy that employs hundreds of millions of people across vastly different industries and actually organize that massive workforce into understandable buckets? If we want to really grasp how a country's wealth is generated and, more importantly, where it's going, we need a solid system to map it all out. Okay, let's dive into this. The answer lies in what economists call the sectors of the economy. Basically, we classify these sectors based on the type of work people are doing, the nature of what they're producing, how they're using resources, and what the final output actually looks like. By grouping activities this way, we can make sense of all the chaos and truly understand the invisible machinery of the economy. To really get this, we're going to build the Indian economy right from the ground up, layer by layer, starting with the foundation, moving to the manufacturers, revving up the service engine, looking at knowledge and leadership, and finally, connecting the entire ecosystem. All right, let's start right at the base of our economic pyramid, Section 1, the foundation, better known as the primary sector. This is the very first stage of any economic activity, where human beings directly extract resources from nature itself. Without this foundation, literally nothing else in the economy can exist. And the sheer scale here, it is absolutely staggering. Agriculture is, of course, the massive anchor. That ranges from subsistence farming, where a family grows food just to feed themselves, all the way up to huge commercial operations pumping out cotton, sugarcane, and tea. But hey, it's not just farming. It includes animal husbandry. Fun fact for you, India is the world's largest milk producer, yielding over 200 million tons a year. That is an absolute mountain of dairy. This sector also covers fishing along those massive coastlines and crucial mining operations pulling coal and iron ore straight from the earth in states like Jharkhand and Odisha. All of that is the primary sector hard at work. But here's the catch. Being the foundation doesn't mean it's totally bulletproof. It's actually wild to think that a huge portion of India's population depends entirely on agriculture for their livelihood, yet incomes remain comparatively low. Why is that? Well, it's mostly because of tiny, fragmented landholdings and a terrifying dependence on the unpredictable monsoon rains. A failed monsoon can literally mean devastating drought and completely uncertain production. To secure this foundation, the solutions have to be aggressively modern. We're talking better irrigation facilities, advanced mechanization to upgrade traditional methods, and robust crop insurance to really protect farmers from the unpredictability of nature. Let's move to and see how this builds into our next layer, Section 2. The manufacturers, or the secondary sector. Once we've extracted those raw materials from the earth, we need to transform them inside factories into finished, usable products. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute non-negotiable dependence of the secondary sector on the primary sector's output. Think about it. A massive textile industry simply cannot exist without the cotton harvested by those farmers. The sugar industry relies entirely on sugarcane. And the food processing industry, the one that fills our supermarket shelves with all those packaged goods, is literally just taking agricultural products and converting them. The secondary sector takes that raw foundation and massively multiplies its value. The specific industries driving this secondary growth are absolute powerhouses. Think about iron and steel. It is the literal backbone of the country. You need it for every single road, bridge, and machine. Then you've got the automobile industry, with these massive manufacturing hubs in places like Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, producing cars and commercial vehicles for the entire world. And let's not forget construction, which is a massive employment generator, building the physical cities of tomorrow. These industries drive urbanization and exports. But, to be fair, they still battle some pretty real hurdles, like slow overall industrial growth, infrastructure bottlenecks, and an urgent need to upgrade technology just to stay competitive globally. Now that brings us to Section 3, the service engine, officially known as the tertiary sector. We are shifting focus right now from physical raw materials and heavy factories to the invisible machinery of the economy. The absolutely key distinction here is that the tertiary sector provides services, not physical goods. As economists love to joke, a service is something you can't drop on your foot. Yet this invisible sector has grown to become the absolute largest contributor to India's GDP. It's the truck driving the goods to the market, the bank financing the factory's expansion, the hospital keeping the workers healthy, and the school training the next generation of engineers.
Pumping within this engine is India's modern crown jewel, the IT and digital boom. Cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, and Noida, they aren't just local tech parks anymore. They are the back office and innovation hubs for the entire planet. We are talking massive-scale software development, cutting-edge artificial intelligence, and cloud computing that pump huge amounts of foreign exchange straight into the country. This sector connects producers directly to global consumers and provides highly skilled employment to millions of people. It's a real game changer.
Moving up to Section 4, Knowledge and Leadership, the Quaternary and Quinary sectors. So as the service sector becomes incredibly complex, it actually splits into two highly specialized tiers at the very top end of the economy. First, you have the Quaternary Knowledge Sector. These are the brilliant minds at ISRO, engineering rockets, the data analysts spotting global trends, or the scientists in biotechnology labs developing new medicines. They are the ones creating the knowledge. Then, sitting right above that is the Quinary Sector, the leadership. These are the top government policymakers, senior administrators, and leaders of international organizations. They aren't in the labs creating the data. They use that data to write the strategic rules of the game. So, the crucial point is, this quinary group of decision-makers is incredibly tiny compared to farming or manufacturing, but their impact, it is absolute. One single policy decision made by a quinary leader in government can instantly reshape the entire agricultural landscape or rewrite the rules for the whole IT industry. They're the ones steering the entire economic ship. Finally, Section 5, Connecting the Ecosystem, the Interrelationship. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that to truly understand an economy, you have to realize these sectors absolutely do not exist in vacuums. They rely entirely and completely on one another to function. Think about the cotton shirt you're wearing right now. Step 1, a farmer had to grow that cotton. That's our primary sector. Step 2, a textile factory had to spin and sew that cotton into a shirt, secondary sector. Step 3, a transport network had to move that shirt from the factory to the store, tertiary sector. Step 4, both the factory and the store needed banking services to handle the money, tertiary again. And Step 5, a retail worker actually sold it to you, tertiary. If the bank fails, the factory can't buy the cotton. If the transport strikes, the shirt never reaches the store. No sector can develop independently. It's the whole shebang working together. And this balance between the sectors, it's constantly evolving. Historically, India's economy was overwhelmingly dominated by agriculture in every single metric. Almost everyone worked on farms, and it produced most of the country's value. Today, however, that structure has dramatically shifted. While farming remains the massive anchor keeping millions employed, the service sector has exploded to become the fastest-growing engine of production and GDP. India essentially leapfrogged from an agrarian foundation straight into becoming a digital, service-driven powerhouse. So why does all this actually matter to you? Because, as economists constantly point out, balanced growth of agriculture, industry, and services is absolutely essential for sustainable economic development. You cannot just focus on glittering IT hubs and forget about the farmers. If you neglect the foundation, the service engine runs out of raw materials and food. If you neglect the service engine, the manufacturers have absolutely no way to reach the global market. They must pull together, or the overall living standard of the country just stalls out. We've covered exactly how an economy organizes its millions of workers, from extracting iron ore from the dirt to coding advanced AI algorithms, and how India is rapidly evolving through it all. So I want to leave you with this to ponder. As India's knowledge sectors continue their massive boom on the global stage, what is the next major structural shift in its economic ecosystem? Will manufacturing catch up to services, or will AI redefine what work even is entirely? Thank you so much for watching this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.